Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Bloodshot Rising Spirit, issue number 1. Okay, let me tell you a big problem that I have with Valiant comic books. It's very hard to start as a new reader on Valiant comic books. They love their original fan base, but they're not a huge fan of new fans because they're just like, psh, I'm not going to make it accessible to you. Go back and get the first issue of Bloodshot ever made and then start from there and read all our books, and then you'll be one of ours. It's like, dude, that's not cool. What's this exclusivity club? I'm not interested. I don't want to be a part of your country club, okay? I don't want to be a part of your Skull and Bones initiation frat boy nonsense, all right? Not interested. So it was very hard for me to always get into Valiant Comics. And then all of a sudden, Shadow Man issue number 1 by Andy Diggle came out a couple months ago, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm madly in love with this book because it's very accessible. I've always tried to get into, for the past 2 years at least, 2.5 years, to get into Valiant Comics, but they never made it accessible. They've consistently failed in doing that. But with Shadow Man, that would... Oof, what a change. Yeah, sure. I know there's people who know the character way better than me who are just, totally cool with it. But me, nope. I wasn't able to figure it out. But now I'm able to figure it out. So I figured maybe they would start doing it with other characters, and of course they did with this character. Also inside is showing that Ninjak, the last issue, the final issue number 14, is going to come out. Hopefully that means they're going to redo him too, because I tried to get onto Ninjak recently, and with issue number 1 of this current run, couldn't do it. I got a couple issues in. I'm like, I feel horrible reviewing this comic book because I don't know what any of this stuff is. Sorry. So hopefully they start all over again and I can actually jump on that. Anyway, whole bunch of really good stuff in here. Speaking of Andy Diggle, he's doing this incursion story on the back. Ooh, that looks good. A nice, unworthy Thor looking kind of character. Anyway, so as far as this comic book, Bloodshot Rising Spirit, this is actually really good. And it is actually pretty easy for me to jump onto. So is this a good jumping on point for Bloodshot? Hell to the yeah. All right, let's get started on who actually made this book. So the story is by Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler. The script is by Kevin Grevio. By the way, if you're new to this channel, I butcher names, not intentionally. Pencils, The Indelible, Ken Lashley. Finishes, Ryan Wynn, Brian Theus, and Oliver Borges. Colorist, Diego Rodriguez, and letterer, Simon Boland. There's a whole bunch of variant covers out here, including Felipe Massafera. He did this one. Wow, yeah, this is the main cover. This is actually the main, you see 111. This is the main cover, cover A. But there's also a bunch of other covers out there, including this one. You guys are probably looking at this going, wait, what? I didn't see that cover on my comic book shelf. Of course you didn't. This is a very special, exclusive cover by Paul Lemenko. And you can check this out right here. Bang! Exclusive to Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles right here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. That's right. Every time I do my This Week in Comics video on Tuesday evenings, what do you call it? Sometimes before the evening. But anyway, I'm always at Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And they paid for their own exclusive cover also. You guys can actually reach that by reaching out to them on Facebook, and you can have access to this beautiful variant cover also. And yeah, I think it's actually kind of worth it. Anyway, this comic book as it stands, again, I don't know anything about this character. Well, until I read the comic book. Now I understand a whole lot about the character, I think. All right, so he was a part of this experiment. And I think that's what, a lot of comic book tropes give you, that part of some science experiment. But more than that, he's part of this experiment, but he himself is a mafia guy. He was in the mob, and he was just a button man, but he was hoping to become a capo. He was hoping to become a made man. You know what I'm saying? What do you call it? So by him, in order for him to become a made man, he's supposed to go on one more mission. Now, again, they don't get into if it was a real mission, if it was a baloney mission, if they were really going to make him a capo or not, because you can't trust that you're definitely going to be. You're not a made man until you're actually a made man. And that's just the way it works. You know what I'm saying? And they'll put you on 40 missions to be a made man. It's like, listen, man, you got to make sure you secure your role, because if you don't, you're going to have too many enemies who are out to pop you. And if they get made also, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? And no, I know that's not how it works. But anyway, the idea here is here's this guy named Angelo, and they also give his last name Mortali. So Angelo Mortali. And he goes on this mission, but he was just a screw up. You know, his girl didn't like him, didn't want to marry him. I mean, if you're with a girl for a long time and you want to marry her and she says no, I mean, yeah, I don't know who I'm talking to in my audience necessarily, but what I am saying is that that's probably not the girl for you. All right, that's all I'm saying. She's probably not the girl for you. Anyway, yeah, this guy, he's a bum. He says it himself. He's a bum, you know? He screws up the job. He winds up getting shot on his way out. He doesn't stay. I guess he ran out of ammo. Well, good job bringing a spare clip with you there, bud. You know, good job bringing a smoke grenade with you or something. You didn't tell me you didn't have access to that stuff? Anyway, so he screwed a spare gun, for crying out loud. A spare, you know, an extra sidearm. Nope, knucklehead. So anyway, he gets sent to jail. He gets sent to Rikers. This is 8 months later. Nobody's bailing him out. They're just leaving him in there. But he's a good soldier. He's a good soldier, you know. He doesn't spill the beans, you know. So I mean, that's good for the capos. That's good for the Padrino. It's not good for him. It's not good for him. So he's screwed. Anyway, you know, like mafia influence only goes but so far. I know we like to think it's, you know, oh, it can reach anywhere. No, it can't. No, it can't. The influence can't reach everywhere. Just sorry, that's TV. But and this book, believe it or not, even with the experiments that are done on this character, it does feel a whole lot more grounded in reality. Case in point, I'm not seeing Hulks and Supermen flying around. Here's this guy that can heal from any wound. It's like, I can believe a Wolverine and a Captain America in my comic books and a Deathstroke in my real world, you know, a lot faster than I can a Superman or a Hulk, you know, or some Thor character. So the Valiant universe has always, to me at least, felt as though it is more grounded, you know? Oh, there's absolutely superheroes, but not like that level. And again, you know, maybe you know of a character. I know Exo Manowar is supposed to be ridiculously strong. I think he's in the Valiant universe. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not one of those guys who claims to know everything in comic books. That's why it's a university. Everybody gets a say. Everybody gets to help each other out. But anyway, we're starting to learn about these experiments that are done. Now, this is something that's interesting to me because I always saw the dot on his chest, and I always thought this was like that Rai character where it's like, oh, yeah, he's Japanese. That's why he's got the big red spot in the middle. It's like the rising sun flag, right? Apparently not. Anyway, so he's got this thing, and I guess that's like where the nanites actually entered his body. I wonder if one of these days they couldn't run out. But if they heal him, I'm sure that they have the self-replicating ability also. Either way, this is kind of interesting. This is definitely kind of interesting. You get to see a bit of his origin story. Maybe it's all of his origin story. I don't know if they ever gave him an origin story before or not. I don't know if they ever gave him a name or not. I honestly don't. Like I said, I don't know anything about this character. The ending is very interesting. All right, because I get the feeling that's going to be one of those endings where people are going to look at this and go, I mean, I'm talking longtime fans, early readers of Bloodshot. I think they're going to look at this ending and go, oh, shoot, wait a second. That doesn't make sense because it kind of doesn't. It kind of doesn't. I'm not going to spoil the ending. But it's definitely interesting. Also, while we see his origin story, we also see it looks like his memories aren't quite, I don't know, keeping up with him. They're planting memories in him, but they're not taking. This is interesting. This is very interesting. I'm curious. I'm also looking at the cover for issue number 2, and that doesn't look like the regular. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe the one I was reading about wasn't the real one. I don't know, but I'm okay with it. Look, long-term readers are going to have an advantage over us normal people who haven't read, normal people, whatever, us people who haven't been able to get into the Valiant comics, the Bloodshot specifically, all right? But with this, I feel like I'm close enough to those long-time readers that I can look at this and say, okay, you know what? I'm good. So, as I said, this is probably a great jumping on point for anybody, all right? For me, it's definitely a good jumping on point. I will be reading issue number 2 of Rising Spirit. Bloodshot Rising Spirit. This looks great. And my hope is that Valiant is going to be doing this for all of their characters. I tried to jump on the issue 1 of Ninjak when it first came out, and it just... I remember I did like issue 0 and the first 2, maybe 3 issues, and I was just like, sorry guys, I'm going to jump off this comic book because I don't feel it's fair to this comic book. I don't know what's going on, and I'm starting to dislike the Ninjak character. But there are people telling me, no, don't fall off the comic book. Ninjak is such a great character, you'll see. But I haven't seen. Sorry, like 3-4 issues into it, and I still haven't seen. But it's looking like issue number 14 of this series that I start on is going to be the final issue. Good. Because hopefully they'll reboot it and they'll do the Bloodshot Shadow Man treatment where they actually make the issue 1s a jumping on point. I'm really, really hoping that that happens. Anyway, guys, this was a really good comic book. I enjoyed the hell out of this. And again, the best part is that I've been wanting to jump on Bloodshot for a while. And this comic book made it very accessible to jump on the issue. Also, unfortunately, yeah, you got to be a member of Facebook. You got to be a subscriber to Facebook, whatever, so that you can get this. If you're not in the Greater Toronto area, the only way to really get a hold of this, you can call them, but the only way to really get a hold of this comic book is to private message them on Facebook. Worth it, though. Honestly, worth it. This is a great cover, and it's probably good to know a Canadian comic book company. You might find out more about that in the future. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Really, really enjoyable comic. And hopefully this is a new turning point for Valiant where they'll actually say, you know what, let's do oh God, here it comes, fresh start. I don't think anybody needed a fresh start more than Valiant, in my opinion, because they were not new reader accessible. That's facts. That's facts, all right? This, though, and Shadow Man, hopefully Ninjak, and a whole bunch more in the future will be, because this was. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.